It's our pleasure to return again this year with a whole new group of serious butt kickers. Let me introduce them. She is the former star of Smallville, who's returning to Comic-Con to promote her new CW drama, Beauty and the Beast. Not hard to figure out which part she will portray, the gorgeous Kristin Kreuk.
So I'm last.
Yeah.
Badass. Okay, well, I'm trying to think of this year. This year, I don't know. I partially moved to LA. I don't know if that's badass, but it was really difficult for me. But I think my most badass, I recently traveled to Syria, and this is not super badass, but we were out and we were in like one of the desert camps, and we were near the Iraqi border, peeing outside with lots of men around. Badass? No, that would be badass. They have those funnels though that you can.
Yeah, the shiwi or the go-girl.
Shiwi, I didn't know it was called that.
Oh, I became so acquainted with them. The oil rig. Yes.
You use them. That's fantastic.
Yeah, they're tricky. You've got to. You got to tuck. Yeah.
All right, so
demonstrate?
I was just what? Sorry.
Oh, I thought I was missing the demonstration.
Oh, you did. It was earlier. We were doing it backstage.
That was after you.
Yeah.
Josh Whedon tried in vain to write a Wonder Woman movie. He said in 2010 that it failed because, quote, she's a girl. Hollywood is still twitchy about that. Do you think moods are changing thanks to the success of the dragon with tattoo in the Hunger Games? Kristin, Nikki, what is your point of view on this?
You know, it's interesting. I think it is challenging for women in this business, and I've always felt that way. But I look at television now, and a lot of the characters and roles that are out there for women in TV are fantastic. I don't know if that's as true in film. That's a broad statement to make, and it's a generalization. But I think that when we look at even auditioning during like pilot season or whatever, there's a lot of stories that are really female driven, and not in a stereotypical sense, and not in a she's strong because she behaves like a man sense. I think that there is a lot of complexity, and I think that's really important. And I agree with you ladies, like making our own projects and making sure that there are writers that are women and producers that are women, so that we can tell those stories in the way that is true to us, is really valuable.
You guys, what is the worst costume that you've ever been asked to wear? Let's start with you, Kristin, down at the end.
Oh my God. Okay. I've had I think that doing Smallville for 8 years. I had skin tight, Kristin over there, I'm sure, wears a lot of really skin tight leather clothes, but it's a lot of skin tight leather clothes. Tiny, I think they wanted me in the tiniest skirts and bustiers and all the, and like red. And she was playing, I was 15 years old, not me, but the character was 15 years old, and I wanted her in like red lace lingerie. That kind of stuff, you know. Is that neat? I think so. If you're 18 playing 15. Okay.
Yeah. Nikki, how about you? Bustier, Nikki?
I don't know. I feel like all of the horrendous stuff I've been forced to shove my body into has been, like a contributing factor. I don't know, I just feel like it's made the character what it is, so I try not to complain. And also, and not that that's what you're doing, but I also feel like because Twilight is still going around, in 5 years I'll have some really fun stories for you guys, but I really shouldn't do that yet. So ask me next year.
Amazing.
And the cool thing, questions, Chris, I wanted to ask you, you got a huge reception yesterday during the fight scene of Beauty and the Beast. Is this Is this your wheelhouse now? Is this the kind of thing that you really want to do?
You know, I am happy that I have the opportunity to do it now. I don't necessarily want to do it all the time. And like when I think about a strong woman, I don't think it's just somebody who can kick people. Like I really think that there's a lot that a woman has to go through to gain that strength in her life. And I feel like that's part of the journey. So I'm happy that I actually have the opportunity to be in the position that I can build a character that could become very strong. And I think that even I've played a victim a lot in my life, and I'm just really excited that even metaphorically, I can go and be kick-ass. You know, like even if as a metaphor, I think that shows strength, that she can be proactive and take care of herself.
Next question.
This question's for Kristin. I'm a huge fan of yours. I'm the one who had your yearbook yesterday.
Okay.
Well, I watched Smallville for 10 years, and I know you're a huge supporter of independent films. I'd like to know what's gonna happen now when you're back to TV.
I think that what I'd like to do, honestly, is begin producing in that direction more. And I started a company with a friend of mine that's actually very female-focused, which is important to me. And I think I can support in that way, even if I can't act in it. I'd like to move out of acting at a certain point. So I'm not going to be able to do all the little silly movies that I've been doing that are wonderful. But I can start making them and telling the stories that have women in them that I want to tell.
Next question.
Hi. You've talked a lot about how powerful women aren't necessarily physically powerful, yet in pop culture, powerful women are physically powerful, really. When do you see this as changing, and what should we do to help this change?
Change to more like mentally powerful as well, or in other ways.
Like in the new Spider-Man movie, for example, the gal, she's a scientist. She doesn't,
Oh, right.
what's her, I can't think of her name. Yes. Yeah. So do you have to have muscles?
You vote with your dollar, like
Yes.
everything. You go along and see everything, and
Yeah.
that's what the market listens to.
And I think we are. I think we are working on telling stories about women who don't need weapons and violence in order to be strong. I think those films have actually maybe always existed. I can't think of any right now because I'm not good when you put me on the spot. Somebody.
Even like a movie like I know she did take on a very masculine role, but if we're talking Kate Blanchett, even Elizabeth,
Yeah.
I would think, although it is a very masculine position, but it's not weapons necessarily or physical strength.
Yeah. Thanks.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. For some reason, Hannah and her sisters is in my head, but I don't know that that's necessarily the right. Yeah. Sorry. Should have sat that one out.
That's right.
And I think to add to what you guys are saying, and to answer your question also, is as individual women, and even men, in our lives, to like, well, I think the men can do it too, but to go out and really look at where do you buy into stereotypes in your own personal existence, like where are you going to be powerful, I need to behave in this way, where am I using violence to feel like I'm not weak, where am I doing any of that stuff? And the more that I think we change personally, the more we're going to support reflections of that in media, I think.
Oh, this is no time. Okay, let me end with this. What is the one kick-ass female cliche you'd like to see eliminated forever? Good. What about you, Nikki?
Don't want to make it serious. I just feel like as much as we talk about change and things are changing, and I'm still very young, so I've been sort of in a bubble. But I do know that, the issue of body image and what you're supposed to look like is not a non-issue. And I think all of us would be lying if we sat up here and said it's something we don't think about and we don't deal with the pressures on a greater scale than men do. And certainly in very specific cases in my career, it's become something that's talked about more than it should be. And it affects not just the roles you play in your career and the choices you make, but who you are as a person, and I think we could all do without that.
Kristin.
I agree with what Nikki's saying very strongly. I think that's really important. That the stereotype of a certain kind of a body type being beautiful or whatever, I think we need to change that. And I think I've said already, I think it's important that we change our concepts of what strength and weakness are, and that an emotional woman is not a weak woman, and that a strong woman is not just someone who can, hurt someone physically. I think that's important too.